My name is Miguel Dean, as been kindly introduced by Claire, who's disappeared now, there she is. Yeah, and I'd like to share with you just a little of my journey, of the adversity or change, depending on how you want to frame it, the things that have happened in my life that have led me to where I am now, stood before you guys. They say that the children are a little bit like wet cement. Whatever falls upon them creates an impression. And this was what happened for me. The impression that fell on me was that I was unlovable, that I wasn't worthy, that I wasn't a good person, and that people weren't to be trusted. Those were my early experiences. And as you can imagine, they formed quite a deep core within me as they happened so young. I'm passionate about empowering young people because I was once a young person and I didn't have that relationship, that understanding, that nurturing, that care. So my feeling is the things that I've experienced can help me help other people perhaps not have to go through quite so much as I went through. So there's a kind of paradigm shift of those things, those changes, that adversity that happened to me is a positive thing. It gives meaning and purpose to my life. I left home with this low kind of feeling inside me. And what happened was that when my parents weren't there to abuse and neglect me, I began to abuse and neglect myself, feeling that I wasn't worthy of anything better. And what happened was that I fell into a kind of shadowy sort of world of drugs and violence and run-ins with the police, shall we say, and homelessness. But just to make sure that nobody falls asleep, I would like to ask for just a little bit of audience participation with this story, if that's okay. A few smiles, as you don't know what I'm going to ask you. What I would like is that when I mention the word donkey, I'd like you to just practice a little bit of what Miguel yogic breathing. 2, 3, donkey. Very kind of choir-like. But this lady here, I did notice a kind of consistent effort. But the important part for me about this story is that sometimes those things that seem to be the things that are going to bury us can actually turn out to be our salvation. It depends on how we look at it. It depends on how we frame it. It depends on the lens in which we see things through. Face the truth. Let's get straight in there. Face the truth. As opposed to kind of denial and pretending it's not happening, or yeah. It's a pretty key one. It's that, I guess the word for me there is responsibility. It's taking responsibility, isn't it? So often that responsibility and acceptance that something isn't right and taking ownership of that is the starting place where we can then begin to move forward. Is it okay for me to summarise that as honouring your emotions?
If you like.
She really wants a swear word to be in there. So.
You want a swear word? Honouring your fucking emotions. And I think my intention, when I look back, my intention was set in that counselling session with that counsellor, when I just realised what feels to me like my life purpose is to serve other people and to help and to make a difference, to leave a legacy. And that was my intention. I want to be able to help other people like this guy has helped me. And I didn't have a clue how I was going to do that. Scruffy and ill and homeless and so on. How can I do that? Who's going to want any help from me? It's not enough just to give up at the first obstacle. The obstacles are there, they are gifts. You all know the NLP thing, no such thing as failure, there's only feedback. There are gifts, there is something in those challenges, in those obstacles that get in the way. Those obstacles are opportunities. There are opportunities to realise who we really are and the vast potential that lies untapped within us. Okay, and I'm going to step back over here so that you don't think, no, I'm going to step back over here so I might look better in the camera from over here. I'll step back over here and we'll see what we can do, because I'm sure there's a lot of focused attention in this room. I'm Miguel, and it's been really lovely being able to share my story and talk with you today. Thank you very much.